Just imagine you're preaching to the walls.
Thank you, sir. And also, thank you, sir.
Because
Hare Krishna. Good morning, all you beautiful people, including those of you who are watching in from the outside. Surprised to see so many young faces here for greeting the deities. That's amazing. What attracted everybody, Ajay? For those of you who maybe don't know me, I'll just tell you I'm Rupanuga Das. I'm a disciple of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, grand disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. And it is my pleasure to be with you all this morning. Today we're going to be reading from Canto 9, chapter 12. We'll be reading the entire chapter, maybe. 16 verses. And we'll concentrate on text number 6. So those of you who have, well, I guess we have a board up here, don't we? So, but anyhow, if you want to use your phone, or if you're listening in to us from home, you can go on your phone to database.io, and go to Canto 9, chapter 12. That's what we'll be reading from this morning. Well, let's see. Let us see. No, I can't use these at all. Look at that. There's no room. Okay. Invocation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gaur Premananda Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Charja Astu Tarasata Sri Srimad His Divine Loving Grace Avoya Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Charja Astu Tarasata Sri Srimad His Divine Loving Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrind Ki ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Guru Parampara Ki Sri Rup Sri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sekaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki, Sri Sri Radha Krishna, Gopa, Gopinath, Shamakund, Radhakund, Giri Govardhana Ki, Sri Vrindavan Ki, Sri Mathura Dham Ki, Sri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki, Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki, Sri Sri Radha Kalajanji Dham Ki, Ganga Devi Ki, Jamuna Mai Ki, Tulsi Devi Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Brihad Madanga, Transcendental Book and Prasadam Distribution Ki, Nitai Gaura Premananda, Hari Hari Bol, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurabhari Pachanine Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshitani Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chant with me, please. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim yasan tato jayam udirayat nasta preshva badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistaki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Canto 9, Chapter 12 of the Srimad Bhagavatam has only 16 verses in the entire chapter, and this is all about the lineage of the dynasty of Kusha, the son of Lord Ramchandra. So we're not going to read all the verses, but we will read the summary at the beginning. And there's a person whose voice I want to hear read the entire summary, and that is Manjari Gopika, and she happens to be present. So I want you to read the entire summary. Can you do that?
Sure, Prabhu.
Can you read loud enough so that everybody at home can hear you?
Yes.
She's got a very good voice for speaking over the
Thank
microphone. Please go ahead.
This chapter describes the dynasty of Kusha, the son of Lord Ramachandra. The members of this dynasty are descendants of Shasad, the son of Maharaj Ikshvaku. Following in the genealogical table of Lord Ramachandra's dynasty, Kusha, the Lord's son, was followed consecutively by Atiti, Nishad, Nabha, Pundarik, Kshemdanva, Devanika, Aniha, Pararyatra, Balashtala, Vajranabha, Sagana, and Vidhriti.
Now, who can repeat that from memory? Shukadeva Goswami can repeat it from memory. Go ahead, please.
These personalities ruled the world. From Vidhriti came Hiranyanabha, who later became the disciple of Jaimini and propounded the system of mystic yoga in which Yajnavalkya was initiated. Following in this dynasty were Pushpa, Dhruvsandi, Sudarshan, Agnivarna, Shigra, and Maru. Maru attained full perfection in the practice of yoga, and he still lives in the village of Kalap. At the end of this age of Kali, he will revive the dynasty of the sun god. Next in the dynasty were Prashruta, Sandi, Amarshana, Mahashvan, Vishvabhu, Prasenajit, Takshaka, and Brihadbala, who was later killed by Abhimanyu. Shukadeva Goswami said that these were all kings who had passed away. The future descendants of Brihadbala will be Brihadrana, Urukriya, Vatsvridha, Prativyoma, Banu, Divaka, Sahadev, Brahashtashva, Banuman, Pratikshava, Supratika, Marudev, Sunakshatra, Pushkara, Antariksha, Sutap, Amitrajit, Brihadraja, Barhi, Kritanjai, Rananjai, Sanjai, Sakya, Shudoda, Langala, Prasanajit, Kushudraka, Ranaka, Surat, and Sumitra. All of them will become kings one after another. Sumitra, coming in this age of Kali, will be the last king in the Ikshvaku dynasty. After him, the dynasty will be extinguished.
Thank you very much. I'd like for you to pass that microphone to Mother Country. I've got a question to ask her. The question, Mother Kunti, is why does Shukadev Goswami give such detail as to this lineage? And there are many other lineages that are spoken of in Srimad Bhagavatam. Why is that?
It's important for everyone to know that the family of the Lord is real and exists, and they are devotees of the Lord, and they come in his line.
All right, another question for you. And this has to do with Chaitanya Charitamrita. And that is, why does Srila Prabhupada often, I guess it's often, give the directions to a place that is mentioned in the history that is being presented by Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj? Why does Prabhupada go to the detail saying, if you take this train up to this place and then you travel by foot or by rickshaw for 20 miles to the east, you'll find this village that has been mentioned? Why does he do that?
Srila Prabhupada actually mentioned that the Mayavad or impersonal philosophy of Bhagavad Gita is to say that the field of Kurukshetra is just within and it doesn't really exist. And Srila Prabhupada was very vehement. He said, Kurukshetra does exist. You take this train and you go to this place, and then that's how long it takes to get there. So these places are factual and historical, not just mythology.
You about to get that? All you folks listening in at home, did you understand that? This is a question that has come to my mind before, and I suspect that other people have thought about that too. Why does Shukadev Goswami present all of the members of these lineages? Is it just to show that he's got a really good memory? No, I think that Mother Kunti has answered the question properly, and that is that it helps us to connect. It's not like we're going to be talking about a person that just gets pulled out of some part of history far distant in the past, maybe 1 million years ago. But rather, we want to understand that that it's going to, there is a connection, even up through a certain point, which might be recognized, maybe not by us, but by scholars of the Vedas, the Vedic literatures. All right, so now we go to text number 6, and this is the one we're going to focus on today. So, if you will, please, we'll start out by repeating the words in Sanskrit and the translated words in English. Can we do that? Okay, let's try. Sa, he. Aso, the personality known as Maru. Aste, still existing. Yoga Siddha, perfection in the power of mystic yoga. Kalapa, Gramsam, the place named Kalapa Gramsam. The Grama, not Gramsam, but Grama. Okay. Astita, he is still living there. Kali, of this Kali Yuga. Ante, at the end. Surya Vamsam, the descendants of the sun god. Nastam, after being lost. Bhavayita, Maru will begin by begetting a son. Puna, again. And the translation by His Divine Grace, and the purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Having achieved perfection in the power of mystic yoga, Maru still lives in a place known as Kalapagram. At the end of Kali Yuga, he will revive the lost Surya dynasty by begetting a son. Surya beginning with whom? Who does that dynasty begin with? Just a guess. Sun god, Surya Narayan. Okay, so repeat with me. Having achieved perfection in the power of mystic yoga, Maru still lives in a place known as Kalapagram. At the end of Kali Yuga, he will revive the lost Surya dynasty by begetting a son. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Why don't you read that? We have a special reader here.
At least 5,000 years ago, Srila Sukadeva Goswami ascertained the existence of Maru in the Kalpagrama and said that Maru, having achieved a Yoga Siddhya body, would continue to exist until the end of the Kali Yuga, which is calculated to continue for 432,000 years.
Okay, so how many years do we have left in Kali Yuga? 427. 427,000, right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Such is the perfection of mystic power. By controlling the breath, the perfect yogi can continue his life for as long as he likes. Sometimes we hear from the Vedic literature that some personalities from the Vedic age, such as Vyasadeva and Asvatthama, are still living. Here we understand that Maru is also still living. We are sometimes surprised that a mortal body can live for such a long time. The explanation of this longevity is given here by the word Yoga Siddhya. If one becomes perfect in the perfection of yoga, he can live as long as he likes. The demonstration of some trifling Yoga Siddhya does not constitute perfection. Here is a factual example of perfection. A Yoga Siddhya can live as long as he likes.
Was Srila Prabhupada a mystic yogi? Could he have lived as long as he liked? Did he live as long as he liked? I think he did. I think he had another assignment that he wanted to work on. He went to. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Marovishtam Sapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupagadamaya Dadati Swabarantikam Vandeham, everybody chant with me. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Savadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karanasando Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakan Chana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Srimate Tamal Krishna Goswami Niti Namane. So, we're talking about living for a very long time. And for those of us who have had the experience of dealing with old people, you wonder, why would anybody want to live a long time? Because usually the body it becomes rather worthless. So we come into this world for a few reasons, one of which is taking reactions from our previous activities. And we get these human forms of life if we're lucky, if we're really, really lucky. Because there's so many, how many total species in this universe? 8,400,000, of which how many are human beings? 400,000 varieties of human beings. And so to get that, to get the opportunity to take your birth again in the human species of life is pretty important, pretty spectacular. So we take reactions. Also, we bring our desires from our previous lives. And that's something I'm praying for, even today, that Krishna will relieve me of material desires. Please don't let me carry these over into my next life. And I hear Krishna saying, you don't have to. I'm not requiring you to. You do it because you want to. You like those desires. They're your desires, and you want to keep them. You want to carry them over into your next lifetime. He says, deep inside, Rupanuga, you might be telling me you don't want to carry those desires over, but deep inside, you want those desires. And as long as you want them, I'll let you have them. As long as you desire to come back into this material world, I'm going to let you do it. Not going to make you leave. Even though I want you to come back where you can play with me along the side of the Jamuna, as long as you can play with me in Ramanreti or at the Govardhan, Sri Govardhan. I would like for you to do that, but if that's not what you want. So we become attached to persons and situations here in this material world. We think about our parents as the only parents that we've ever known. And yet we know by the Vedic literature that's not the case. We've had many parents before, many sets of parents. And in our next lifetime, at the end of this lifetime, we're going to forget everything that we've done in this lifetime. Or at least there's some exceptions. Like the little kids who are 4 years old begin playing etudes by, by whoever, Beethoven, Shostakovich. And so they begin, and they just sit down at a keyboard. So they have brought something with them into this lifetime. The way Jay plays mridanga, he didn't just learn that in his lifetime. I feel quite certain. I think he brought some of that with him from a previous lifetime. So we become very attached to things, and it makes it hard for us to give those up. And so Krishna recognizes those desires and allows us to bring them with us into this very lifetime. What's really interesting is that the variety of karma that we sometimes get. For example, a young kid who has autism and is blind, and yet he sits down and plays an instrument, the veena, or plays the harmonium, or plays the piano, as though he is just remembering what he left behind. So souls get empowered when they come into this lifetime, sometimes to perform some pretty extraordinary feats, accomplishments. We mentioned music, also composing literature. Srila Vyasadeva came and he sorted through the 4 Vedas, and then he compiled them he sorted through the Vedas and then compiled them into four Vedas. And so this is extraordinary. There's so many Vedic literatures, and yet he had the ability when he came into this lifetime, to do that. And it's really unusual that a person would do that. Also, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he compiled the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And so this is, for any of you who tried to write a little bit outside of your schoolwork, your required schoolwork, you know that writing can be a very difficult thing to get into, to begin What to speak of writing an entire book and seeing it all the way through to publication? And how many books did Srila Prabhupada write in his lifetime? In the 10 or 12 years that he was, how many? 80 volumes. That's pretty amazing. Sometimes people come in with a desire, come to this material world, with a desire to rule over other people. Some have the natural propensity, like Yudhisthira, King Yudhisthira. He had the ability and the personal qualities that made him very, very lovable and made him an excellent person to oversee the population of the entire planet. But then there were other people who came in, like Hiranyakashipu. Of course, we know Hiranyakashipu was previously one of the gatekeepers of Vaikuntha. And he was chosen, he and his brother, Jain Vijay, they were chosen by Lord Krishna. As a matter of fact, Krishna set up that entire scenario with the cursing by the 4 Kumaras. And so he took, Krishna comes and he takes the blame for that, but he says, that I want to do something with you two guys. You know, can you imagine all the living entities that are in the Vaikuntha planets, and yet these two, I don't know if we can call them insignificant gatekeepers or not, but anyhow, they were chosen by Krishna to come and share in pastimes. And Krishna said, all right, I'll give you a choice. And what was that choice? So I'm going to, how many lifetimes can you come as my devotee? 7, right? Or you can come how many lifetimes as my adversary? 3. So, you know, they conferred among themselves and decided, hey, if we come 7 times, that means we're going to be away from this post that we've occupied here as the gatekeepers. We're going to be away for a long time. And so, well, actually they were away for quite a long time, taking their birth as demoniac characters, didn't they? But anyhow, some people just come into this material world wanting to lord it over everybody. And we have a lot of people, like, especially from our previous century, people like Hitler, Stalin, and even today we have dictators across the world, and we can't limit our discussion of dictators to other countries either, can we? In other words, they show up everywhere. And it's people who are less than Sudras, but they come into this world and they get empowered to accomplish what they accomplish, even if it means killing 6 million people of the Jewish faith, which happened in World War II, didn't it? Remember that? And they were not even involved in the war. Those Jewish and people were not part of the conflict. I mean, they were not part of the fighting, as far as we know. And yet, they were chosen to die. So that was Adolf Hitler. He brought that about. Joseph Stalin also killed, as I have heard it, something like 20,000 of the leaders of his military establishment, because what? He thought that they were plotting against him, Stalin. So those people come and they are born into a situation and they are raised in a society in which they get the power to accomplish those heinous acts. And guess who empowers them? What did Hiranyakashipu ask his son? Prahlad, where do you get your power? And what did Prahlad say? Same place you got your power, Father. So we have to understand that all of the bad characters come into this world, and a few of them are especially empowered to accomplish something that is pretty fantastic. Very demoniac, but fantastic. Just like Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. They came into this world and they caused, as we understand it, caused a lot of misery for a lot of people because they had the desire to enjoy not only physical pleasure, but also the ability to rule over the entire planet. That was their goal. What they didn't know, maybe, was that this is the smallest among planets and the smallest of universes. And outside of this universe, there are unlimited numbers of other universes with unlimited numbers of planets in them. And so if they wanted to establish themselves in this one little universe and wanted to be more powerful than anyone else. So Krishna gave them that ability. He said, okay, all right, you want to enjoy yourself. All right, I'm going to give you a suitable body for that. And so he empowers them, and a person like Hitler, he sets them up. He sets him up in his society so that he can rule it over that society, and he even gives him a shot at ruling the entire planet. And I'm afraid that he came pretty close to it at one time. If it hadn't been for a number of other people who said, no, we don't want you to rule the planet, we want to rule our own country. And so, Krishna has given them the empowerment to do that. So some people are coming into this world to rid the world of those demoniac influences, those demoniac persons, such as Parashuram. How many times did he kill the entire administrative class? 21 times, was it? And then Lord Krishna, when he comes, he also chooses to arrange for 640 million men to be killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Now, Krishna is not demoniac. We understand that. Parashuram is not demoniac. And yet there were demoniac personalities that did come, and they received the empowerment to do that. Someone even said that they thought Krishna was a Shakti Vishavatar. That doesn't make good sense to me. But he was a living entity who received empowerment from the Supreme Lord to do the kinds of stuff they did. Of course, he didn't receive it directly. He got it through the material energy of the Lord, Durga Devi. But still, he had the power to do that. So, then there's some who come into this world and they get the empowerment to help others on their spiritual journey. They don't set out to take advantage of everyone else, to feather their own bed, as they say. Or in other words, to make life easy. They're not interested in gold and a soft bed like Hiranyakashipu was. They're interested in giving their lives and giving up all the possible pleasures that they could have in their lives to try to help people get on the path back to the Supreme Lord, out of this material world. Why? Compassion. They cared. They cared about us. Us, here in this country, who grew up in the West with all kinds of sinful activities and sinful mindsets. And this is what we were accustomed to. And some of us, it took a pretty long time before we ever got to hear the name of Krishna. For me, I was about 28 years old, I think. That's a long time to go in ignorance in this material world and have no idea what is the purpose of this material world. So then we have this person who is mentioned here, Ashwatthama. Anybody know who his father was?
Son of
Dronacharya. Yeah, he was the son of a saintly person. Everybody respected Dronacharya. But, unfortunately, as fate set it up, Drona was fighting on the wrong side. And he had to. So that was a politically correct thing for him to do. And Bhishma also, as saintly a person as he was, and as much as he was loved by the persons that he was going to have to try to kill, he was on the wrong side. And so these personalities come into the world not thinking that their job is to deliver the whole world back to the spiritual world. So it takes a person who doesn't have great military power, who doesn't have great political influence, who doesn't have great wealth at his disposal, and he comes because he cares about us. Prabhupada. So we say, thank God for Prabhupada. Yeah. So Ashwatthama, let's go back to him for a moment. He got a benediction at the end of his life. I guess it was a benediction. It was not a benediction. It was a curse that he would live a very, very long life on this planet. You might remember Ashwatthama right at the end of the Battle of Kurukshetra. For some reason, Ashwatthama survived. And I think it was because he had a particular thing to accomplish that Krishna wanted done. So what was the very heinous act that he performed?
Killed the sons of Draupadi.
The five
Five
sleeping sons of Draupadi, Queen Draupadi. And if I remember right, in the Mahabharata, it speaks that he decided to come in and attack them at night when everybody was asleep. But when he came to the border of the camp of the Pandavas, there was this great figure that was there protecting the whole camp. And it was a form of Lord Shiva. Am I correct on that? That's what I'm remembering from what I read. And Lord Shiva could have easily kept him out of there, but he gave him permission to go in. He permitted Ashwatthama to go in and kill the sleeping sons of Draupadi. Not only did he kill them, but he beheaded them. Now, how heinous can you become? Such a cruel, evil deed. And yet he's permitted to do that by a person who is another form of Krishna, Lord Shiva. It's Krishna in disguise. He has limited activities, limited powers, because that's the way he wants this person to be, the one that he's taking the part of. Krishna is taking the part of Lord Shiva. So he's partial expansion of, I think we can say, of Lord Krishna. But anyhow, he could have stopped Ashwatthama from doing it. But Ashwatthama did that, and then what did he do with the heads of the young boys? And what happened to Duryodhana? At that time, what was he doing? He was dying because somebody smacked him hard on the thighs with his club. And who was that? Bhima. And so Ashwatthama was feeling some allegiance to Duryodhana. And he regretted seeing his leader in such a pitiable condition. So he thought, well, let me bring these and I'll tell him that I've killed the Pandavas, and here are their heads. And so what did Duryodhana do? He felt the heads, and he felt that they were soft. They were not hard like an adult's heads would be. And he realized that what Ashwatthama had done. So then Ashwatthama ran. He tried to get away, but he was pursued by whom? Arjuna. And so as a last-ditch effort to save himself, what weapon did he release? Brahmastra. But there was one fault in his use of that weapon that he didn't know how to correct. And what was that? He didn't know how to retract the weapon. So I think Krishna was driving the chariot of Arjuna in pursuit of Ashwatthama, wasn't he? I think so. And so Krishna, whenever Arjuna realized that Ashwatthama had released the weapon, Krishna, he was, of course, it's pretty frightening. And so Krishna said, release your own Brahmastra. And so when Arjuna did that, then it met the other one and combined with it, and it was a brilliant light all over the universe. But that was, and then he retracted both. He had the ability to retract both of those weapons. So Ashwatthama then is captured, and he's brought back, and everybody's telling Arjuna, kill him immediately. And yet there's someone who stepped in and saved him. Who was that? Draupadi, of all people, her sons having been killed and dismembered by this evil person. And she says, no, we can't kill him because what? He's a Brahmin. He comes from a Brahmin family. He was hardly Brahminical, but his father was a Brahmin who was very highly respected by everybody. So because Draupadi said, no, don't kill him, then they turned him loose. But before they did, I think Krishna was the one that told him what his fate would be. So you're gonna stay on the planet for a very, very, very long time, and you're gonna be by yourself. Nobody's gonna want to be with you, and your body is gonna be infested with sores, wasn't it? Something like that. Yeah. So here was a person who lived for so we're talking about a great lifespan, and it really. There's really no good purpose in living a long time in these bodies, is there? Because our bodies will not last for 100,000 years, as they might have in a previous yuga. They're going to last, at the very best, probably 100 years. Few exceptions to that. Few people are older than 100. But mostly, we know people, don't we? We have friends who have children that have given up their bodies at some point early in life. Giant and I just got a message recently that one of the boys in the community that she grew up in, young fellow, is about probably 10 years or so. No, he wasn't quite that young, much younger. But anyhow, considerably younger than she was, that he had given up his life, 70 years old. But he had a younger brother who, at a very early age, he got a disastrous injury. It snowed in Mississippi, rural Mississippi. That was one of the years we had a big snow. And what the country boys like to do is attach a rope to a four-wheeler or a Jeep or something, and then attach it to a tire. And they could pull somebody behind them on the tire, and they could go around, get in a big open area and go around the field, and it would give these young kids a ride who were riding on the back. So this boy who just recently gave up his body, he was doing that with his younger brother. And somehow or other, they lost some control, and that tire hit some trees, killed him and his little buddy who was riding on the tire instantly. So what's good about we can say, well, that saved them a lot of suffering in this material world, and it also got rid of a lot of karmic reactions all of a sudden. But nobody wanted that to happen. The parents had to suffer piteously when something like that happens. So we've all experienced, and we've lost friends and relatives if we've lived long enough to do that. And if you haven't lost friends and relatives, you will. If you live long enough, you will see other people dropping around you. And because of your lifestyle that you're now living, now that you've taken to Krishna consciousness, it could be that you will outlive a lot of those people that you grew up with. But unless a person uses his life constructively to help other people, which is in effect helping himself, then what's the use of a long life? I'll give you another personal example. My wife's father gave up his body a couple of years ago in Mississippi, 97 years old. And his mother was just within months of being 100 years old when she gave up her life. But I have seen my father-in-law staying in an assisted care home that he had to go to. Not that he was so disabled, but he just really kind of did not know how to take care of himself anymore. And so, he lost all of his childhood friends who were about the same age. They passed away years ago. And so he's left there, in this nursing facility without anyone to communicate with that he has known who has been close friends in the past. What use is it to live such a long life if you're not having fun with the people that you care about? So Krishna has made all arrangements for us, hasn't he? He's made these lifespans relatively short in this age of Kali, and he's also allowed us to suffer enough that we get rid of a lot of the reactions that we had in the past. And so everything then is working out fine. As long as we are trying to take to Krishna consciousness ourselves and help other people get to that point, everything's going to be all right. You're going to make it. You get to a certain age, then death is going to come, take you away, and you're on to your next destination. And those of us who are over 50 now, I'm over 50, we realize that the time is coming, and it's not that far away. It's not like it was back when we were 25, 30, and we thought, we know that we're going to have to give up our bodies at some time, but it just seems like an eternity before we get to be 70 or 80 years of age. And yet, it sneaks up on us, and all of a sudden it's there glaring us in the face, And so we realize, all right, Krishna, we get it. We understand. That's what this material life is all about. And so the only thing we can take with us to our next life is whatever good we've accrued in this lifetime. And whatever good that we've done for somebody else in this lifetime, we could take that with us. What's that about the bank balance? This is a bank balance that is never depleted. You just add to it, you add to it, and you add to it. And if you don't make it back to Vaikuntha or get to the, Goloka Vrindavan at the end of this lifetime, you get another shot at it. And if you really want to come back into this world and be with your family members again, Krishna will make arrangements for that too. He'll let you come back. He's not going to force you out of this material world, even though it's full of suffering and misery. Oh, Lord, this material body is a place of suffering and ignorance, and the senses are a network of paths that lead us to death. So we know that now, and so we know we can appreciate all of the reactions that come to us, both good and bad. And so therefore we could get prepared for whatever's coming. And that's about all I've got to say about that. Anybody want to pose a question or something? We got about a few minutes. Is that 8:21? 27. 8. Oops, I ran over time a little bit. We'll take a couple of questions or comments, but you must do it with a microphone.
Your statement just recently was the only thing that we can take with us when we pass away is our pious credits. Did I understand?
Of course, if we have any negative reactions, we might have to take a few of them with us too.
Okay. So My question is why? Because if you have all that, how are you going to go to where Krishna is? It was, a devotee doesn't want anything. They don't want karma, vikarma, akarma. They want akarma, no karma. So
Who wants
can
that?
you devotees? Would you help? Would you elaborate on that?
No?
No. Is anybody else willing to rescue me?
No. Mother Nandini. Oh,
Nandini, will you
wanna
help me?
Yes, please. Be sure to hold the microphone up here. Mother Nandini will speak.
Krishna.
Oh, she spoke yesterday
Hare
too.
Krishna. Anyway.
Did everybody enjoy Mother Nandini's class yesterday?
Please. Hare Krishna. Hi, Rupanugaji. So,
You need to speak loud now because you're talking
so
to
I
a deaf
was,
man.
I was just seeing a post of Srila Prabhupada that says, you know, and you hear so many, you read so many different things, but in this particular post, Srila Prabhupada was saying, anyone who's chanting Hare Krishna, they have their ticket back home, back to Godhead. So
Did you say this lifetime?
it gave me hope. The other comment I wanted to say, we were mentioning about Srila Prabhupada and how he's translated. We have so many lectures and memories about Srila Prabhupada and how he would be up late at night translating all these books. Nonetheless, he was criticized for accepting women and giving them, Brahman initiation, Gayatri. And I'm reading the Lilamrita by Satsarup, and similarly, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, his life was, actually they tried to kill him. Why? Because he was, the lion guru. He was a
rebel.
powerful preacher, and he was explaining clearly in Shastra that it isn't by birth, but it's by qualification. And the caste Brahmins were, vehemently against that. And Prabhupada also had that in his experience. But
This is
the
our
parade goes on.
parampara.
The parade goes on. They didn't cower. They went forward. So I just, thought I'd comment on that also. Hare Krishna.
We're very fortunate to come in a disciplic succession such as this, Gaudiya Vaishnava, that we have powerful men and women who are in the background, who have helped us to get to this point that we're at today.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I just saw this clip the other day of Srila Gurudev, and he was saying that one has to chant their rounds before Mangala Arti, or how can he guarantee that you go back? You saw the video too? It was strong. Who was that? Srila Gurudev. Tamal Krishna Goswami. I don't know, but it was powerful though. I got up at 2:00 this morning and started chanting my rounds. But one thing I was thinking about is this point of no karma. Karma's material, right? Whether we get good karma or bad karma, but we want akarma. But the devotee does want something, lolium. They have a great greed, right, for service of Krishna or love of Krishna. And so hopefully we can take that, or from what I understand, we can take that greed or that desire to love Krishna and to rekindle that relationship from our next life to our next life to our next life. And so, as a matter of fact, in the morning we say in Srila Prabhupada's Guru Puja, right, that let me serve you life after life, right, birth after birth. And yeah, those were a couple thoughts I had.
Manjari Gopika Devi.
Hare Krishna. So, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but here we go. Mother Nityakeshwari told me a while ago that Gopal Prabhu, our Gopal Prabhu in this community, that he heard His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj say that anybody who chants the rounds before Mangal Arti will go back to Godhead. So for years, he's been getting up at 2:30, chanting all of his rounds and then going to Mangal Arti. So, Haribol.
All right, thank you very much for your comments. Thank you, everyone, for coming and sitting with me today and keeping me company. It's been very nice to see all of your faces, and I really appreciate your comments. So we recognize that you are Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, and therefore we offer you our respectful obeisances because you're like desire trees. You fulfill the desires of everyone, and you're full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasanabhyevacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha anantakoti vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Kalachandidam ki jai. Gaur Premanand.